Hi, my name is Jason Wismiller. I'm 30 years old. I'm a single parent. I work as a paralegal. I have an associate's degree in business. I served in the United States Marines for 6 years. I'm not a politician, not much of a public speaker, and I'm not famous by any means. Next week, we will take place in possibly one of the most pivotal elections of our country's history that could affect the future for a very long time. And as a citizen of this country, I feel an obligation to get my opinion on this election out in any way that I can, so that come November 9th, I'll be able to look back and honestly tell myself that I did everything that I could to get my message across. Because of this obligation, I wrote a statement. I would like to read that statement now. I titled this, "One American's Plea to the Country He Served." To any person who reads this, I graciously thank you for your time and consideration to the things I am about to say. I dedicate this to my son. I am a father. I am a Christian. I am a veteran. For all the things that I am deeply concerned and frankly frightened about the very near future of this great nation. We are at a fork in the road that branches down two extremely different paths. It is my opinion and belief that there is only one possible path to take to avoid all that we have worked, fought, and died for being damaged beyond repair. The path we must choose is to elect Donald Trump as our next President of the United States. Now, to anyone who is still reading or listening to this message, this is not a smear piece. This is not an attack on anyone's ideas or even a glorified campaign speech. This is one man, one American, trying to do his part to secure the future of our country for the generations to come. Those generations include my child and possible grandchildren. I've paid very close attention to this election for the past 18 months or so. Listened to about 3 to 5 hours of political news coverage per day. I watch many networks, listen to countless speeches of candidates, surrogates, and supporters from both sides. Much of what I have heard and what I believe remains unknown to most Americans because of the corruption of the mainstream media. Now that we are just days from the election, I have a duty to get my message out as far as it'll reach. Donald Trump is the only candidate who will protect the religious liberties of America, which our founding fathers instilled in us from day one. Separation of church and state aside, religion has been crucial to the development and prosperity of our country. There is a reason that "In God We Trust" is printed on our currency. "One nation under God" is in our Pledge of Allegiance. And our Declaration of Independence includes the phrase, "They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights." We cannot deny the presence of God in our founding, in our governance, and our everyday lives. But in today's America, these things are being threatened by a leftist idea that we need a government to protect us from our own beliefs. It was the Democratic Party who led the attack of removing the Pledge of Allegiance from our schools, the attempt to remove religious icons from public settings, and now threatens to prohibit prayer from athletes at sporting events in general. This is not right, regardless of your faith. Everyone has a right to practice their religion as they see fit. If a coach wants to take a knee before a game and pray for the health and achievements of his athletes, who has the right to deny him? The left wants to take this away. They have also stated that Christianity needs to look at and modify its beliefs to allow for more modern times, that Catholicism is a bastardization of the faith, that medieval dictatorship has no place in today's America. This is wrong in more ways than I can count. We need a leader like Mr. Trump to protect our beliefs and preserve our faith. Aside from religious liberties, there will be many other things addressed by the Supreme Court justices that the next president appoints. These justices will affect the laws and rights of the citizens of this country for decades to come. This is not simply an election between two people for the presidency for the next 4 years. Donald Trump will appoint justices who will protect the people and our rights. The Second Amendment is under attack, as well as parts of the First. Again, the left feels it's their job to protect us from ourselves. Wrong. We are given our rights to protect ourselves and our families. The most important decision to be made, in my humble opinion, is the issue of abortion. Hillary Clinton's plan includes the right of a woman to have an abortion into the 9th month of pregnancy and up till days before labor. She also supports partial birth abortion. And you can call me what you will, but this is disgraceful and sickening. Now, our government has been so greatly divided that it spends more time fighting between the parties than it does trying to help the people. And make no mistake about it, the government is meant to serve the people, not the other way around. I am a conservative, but the walls between the parties are upsetting. Donald Trump is the only candidate to run for the president who has a chance at blurring the lines and moving our government to a more central structure. The issue of abortion is one of those areas. He was contested by his own party on his stance of making abortion illegal, while still allowing to construct some acceptances that the Democratic Party is in favor of. Same with Planned Parenthood. Mr. Trump went against the Conservative Party, saying that it could sustain some funding to allow for things such as cervical screenings. He also, while still being supported and endorsed by the NRA, stated that he would look at some gun control laws that the left wants, such as hardening the gun show loophole and stricter background checks. Trade is another area that he has blended the lines of the parties on, along with many more. Plain and simple, Donald Trump is a businessman, a very successful one at that. Our country needs a leader who understands business, how to prosper, how to cut costs, and how to create jobs. There has never been a candidate more fit to do so. This country suffers from extremely unfair trade deals such as NAFTA that have killed jobs in manufacturing across America. This needs to be fixed. We need to work, we need to produce, and we need to compete in the global market. The biggest threat to jobs and one of the biggest threats to America is illegal immigration. Not immigration, as the mainstream media will twist to say how racist Republicans are. Illegal immigration. The left preaches about a higher minimum wage, yet one of the main things that affects wages is illegal workers. They also take jobs away from the millions of Americans struggling to find work. And I don't want to hear about the jobs Americans won't do line. We are a hard-working country made up of countless skills that are fully willing to take on any job that provides for our families. And even though I will most likely be called a racist by some, I am not ashamed to say that a wall on the southern border is needed. Not only will it stop the flow of illegal immigrants into our country, but it will have a severe blockage on the drugs that pour into our neighborhoods from Texas to New Hampshire and everywhere in between, and killing a terrifying number of people, and even worse yet, children. We need to put a stop to the flow of both. It is not racist to want protection. A country is identified by its borders. We have fences around our yards and locks on our doors not because we hate others, but because we want to feel safe and have a say to who comes and goes. Before you get too worked up about this topic, another thing that the mainstream media won't address is the fact that Mexico is talking about doing the exact same thing on their southern border, and has also stated that it wants to put an end to the dirty money and guns flowing from our country into theirs. A wall would be beneficial and work to improve our relationship with our southern neighbors. Hillary Clinton speaks of a borderless hemisphere. This would not only allow the cartels from Mexico into our country, but the gangs of South American countries and the terrorists from around the world. They would be free to enter our country and attack it as they see fit. And this simply cannot happen. We need to stay safe. The last thing I want to touch on from a policy standpoint is an issue very close to my heart: the treatment of this nation's veterans. The men and women who fought and served bravely and continue to struggle with far too much. Donald Trump made very clear his plan to restructure the VA and to improve the health and benefits earned by veterans. He also addressed the 20-plus suicides a day that happen. This hurts me on a very deep level. I know the struggles they have and the battles they fight that they don't think they can win. They need help. They need strength. They don't need to die by their own hands or waiting in line for medical care. We need a leader who will stand up to them and have the courage to stand up to the corruption of the government, to bring it back down to the level it was meant to be, a complete and total service to its people. I know the main argument is that people can't vote for Donald Trump because they don't like him or think he is a sexist or any other name the left throws at him. However, this is so much bigger than your idea of just one man. It's about policies, security, and strength of our nation. Say what you will about Donald Trump the person, but here is what I see, and I ask you to consider. He does not need to be running for president. In fact, it will have a huge hindrance on his life and wealth. He is running for the people, for their rights, for the voice that has been drowned out by the expanding government corruption and greed. He has taken on brutal attacks and attempts to slander him and his family at every turn, yet he continues to fight. His rallies are packed with thousands of people screaming for support for someone who has finally had the courage to stand and say enough is enough. He is in every single state, not just the ones he needs for the electoral map. Sometimes he is in 4 or 5 events in a single day. He hasn't quit and he hasn't slowed down. He offers hope to areas that have been forgotten by the Democratic leadership, such as the cities of Chicago, Milwaukee, and Baltimore, where the murder and crime rates continue to grow. He stands behind law enforcement as they endure attacks on their lives and their credibility. While the left preaches political correctness and caters to offensive movements like Black Lives Matter, Donald Trump tells it like it is and tries to send the message that was so powerfully shared by people like Martin Luther King Jr. and Abraham Lincoln, individuals who fought for equality and the lives of all people. Lincoln founded the Republican Party to put an end to slavery. Is that a party of racism? Now, what I admire most about Donald Trump is his family. Watching his children give amazing speeches and showing unbending support for their father is incredible. The Bible states that we can judge a tree by the fruit it bears. Well, Donald Trump raised hard-working and dedicated children. Seeing the pride and love on his face as he watches them give a speech truly touches my heart as a parent. His wife and children have stood by his side and given him all their strength, and believe me, his family, most of all his wife, are strong beyond belief. They are extremely intelligent and share his view of standing up for America and bringing back the greatness that our founding fathers had in mind when they decided to fight an unbeatable force in the Revolutionary War and win us our independence. So to those who have read my words, I ask that you truly consider them. I ask that you consider the policies of both candidates and make up your own mind. Vote in November. Vote for our future and our children's future. So much is at stake in a few short days. It is up to us, the people, to make our statement and continue our movement to say enough is enough. We need to find our pride. We need to stand and say I am proud to be an American. This isn't about Mr. Trump or your opinion of him, but he is the one who represents us, who represents our voice. I stand strong for Donald Trump and the wonderful people he will surround himself with in the government of the United States. Stand with me and take our country back. Thank you. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Mr. Donald Trump. Now that's the end of the statement that I wrote, and if anybody wants a copy of it, you can feel free to contact me. If you know who I am, you can find ways to contact me. Other than that, you can feel free to comment on here. I would love to debate any of these issues, and truthfully, I could have wrote this twice as long because I didn't even touch on important issues such as education or ISIS. But I figured if I made it any longer, then people definitely wouldn't read it. But to those who are still listening, thank you very much. And I would love to hear your opinions. Like I said, feel free to comment. You can find me on Twitter, @JWismiller, or on Facebook. And just let me know your opinion, or share my opinion with others if you agree with it. I really feel a duty to get my message out as far as I can reach. So again, thank you for your time, and God bless you.